Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
And now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base.
Morning, everybody. It's Monday. How you doing? I think this week is going to be kind of a catch-all week. I'm not sure. The shape of it is still forming. I will tell you that I spent some of yesterday doing the the preliminary, the inaugural grass mowing of the season. Now, the first grass mowing of the season is always a labor-intensive issue because that's when you're getting up all of the branches and the crud that has fallen on your yard all winter long. Well, what passes for winter down here all winter long, and so it's something that I do in stages. I like my yard, I like my house, but I'm not going to kill myself over it. So I did the front part, big part of the front yard yesterday. I'll probably do the rest of the front yard today. It's part of my slowing down and taking time and doing stuff and spending more time outdoors life plan that I've got for myself this year. I've gotten a little bit too sedimentary and not getting out and moving and grooving and being in the sunshine like I ought to. So spending more time, I'm dedicating more time to working outside, taking advantage of the weather before it starts turning blazingly hot all day long. So I'll be doing some work here today. I'll be doing some work outdoors today. Over the weekend, back to our regular scheduled program, over the weekend, I was talking to Jeffrey Fink. Now, you know in your heart, I was not going to be able to finish the Maria project and leave Jeff Fink out of it. Jeff Fink he has become a key modeling partner especially when it comes time to print things in 3D, because I can print them okay. I can't design them in 3D worth beans. I am just not, I've never made the leap from 2 to 3D design. I like to think of myself as a pretty competent, pretty dang good 2D designer. I did have a career in that, but never made the leap into 3D. So over the weekend, I whipped up some sketches for some stuff that I thought the Maria diorama needed. And what was missing the most were the big knife switches. That's what they're called. They're knife blade switches. The big Frankenstein switch, the big Clunk switches. And so I emailed to Jeff and I said, we need something to go behind Rotwang to run all the wires in that is going to be basically a table with some of these big knife switches on it. Now, he designed something. I printed it. I'm painting it up today. I'm making alterations in it. And it's easier for me to alter what I printed than to ask Jeff to go back and redesign it on his end. And I can just reprint it. But basically, we've got a stand like this, and it's going to have these big old knife switches on it. The big old, Medusa switches from Rocky Horror. The big old knife switches. Something like that. And at this table, we're going to have all the wiring. There's no lights. There's nothing fussy on these tables. Trust me, we've got enough lights going on now. But I just wanted a table with these 3 big switches on it so that we can have Rotwang have something behind him. I don't know if I want to put anything behind Friederson or not. I have printed up enough. Trust me, printing these switches is like potato chips. You just can't get enough. And no, I did not. I asked them to be stationary. I don't want to make them mobile. That's just a little bit too much of gilding the lily there. We don't need to do that. We can have them stationary. There's no benefit to adding that. Maybe if I had decided to make them a little bit bigger, I could make them functional, but that's not the goal here. So we're going to have something like this that I'm going to paint up to match the color scheme of Maria's transfer table. and maybe run some fun wiring down on here. And that was something else I did over the weekend, is I ran more wires all over, phony stage setting wires on the front table to junk it up a little bit more and make it a little bit more visceral. So we're going to be doing that. I've got another fun project that I've printed out from the gentleman at 3D Figlabs. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I think if I have enough time, I'm going to redo that faceplate that Keith sent me for the Oblivion drone, because Wonderfest to be coming, and if I'm going to be going, I gotta get the things that I'm going to be taking show worthy. I gotta get them ready to be seen by the public, and I want to replace that faceplate on the Oblivion drone with the improved version. So join me as I switch things up a bit and start doing a bunch of little projects this week. Greetings, everybody. It's Wednesday. I know you're probably sick of seeing this thing. It's Wednesday, but yesterday was Tuesday. But rather than calling it Tuesday, I think I'd rather call it Scatterday, because I was being pulled in like 19 separate directions, and it was one of those things where I was just bouncing around all over the house getting everything done. And so I'm sorry if I didn't get a good enough report of what's actually going on now, because, amongst other things, the yard work has to be tended to. Orders have to be put out. It is getting very close to Wonderfest, and as we get closer, and Wonderfest is not only the cultural high point of my year, it's probably the most expensive weekend I ever have. So when I can generate funds, I need to, because all of this does not run on smiles and unicorns. But that's not your problem, that's mine. So what I have been doing little by little, and I finally finished today, was putting these guys in. These are things that, these are the switch panels that Jeffrey Fink and I have come up with over the weekend. And I have been installing them, muddying them down, trying to make them look used. I've also went in and wired them. I put some little bits of wire so it looks like things are not just, switches aren't just sitting in midair. And I was able to run all of the wires from the chair up into these on both sides, and then out through these tubes out to the main table up front, if you can see that. And I like the fact that the this is that silicone IV tubing type of stuff that I ordered, that was too thin to run the LED, strip LEDs through, but it does pick up the light naturally, almost like a fiber optic. And I like what it's doing here as far as bringing the light into that front, the front box there. But in the doing of the aging of that, I realized I also needed to come back and age the main table to kind of match it. And I just took some grime over the bright cabling here too, to make them look a little bit more in universe, and did the same thing on these green cables here. So aged that down, put another box over here behind Friederson, and ran the wires from that side up into it and again to the front. So now that all of that is done, and I have aged the table, the front table accordingly, now I think I can call it finished. It was missing those last little bits. I'm going to take the tweezers here and kind of tease some of these wires around to make them, a little bit more active, make them more character of their own. And we're ready to take this and put it aside. The last little bits I did was coil up some of this plant wire and or floral wire. I can't call, it's not plant wire, it's floral tape wire. And because it's really stiff, it's a really excellent wire, and it's got that green coating on it. but I could just join up some of the little knickknacks. I also took one of Jeff's, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. If I did, I'm just going to repeat myself, but I took one of Jeff's designs for one of the switches, and I basically cut it down the middle, because I thought what was missing on this table was that big, the big throw switch for Rotwang to use. So I left that in place, put that there, and now I'm ready to give this the chef kiss seal of approval and send it on its merry way, or at least put it on the table so that I can bring it to the fest next month, or June. It's coming very soon. It's coming very soon, kids. We need to, I need to stop dilly-dallying and get some stuff ready. But that's it. That was job one of this week. Okay, perfectly in keeping with the rest of this random week, the next installment of ET has shown up. This is the second delivery from Fanhome this week, and I'm expecting one more, and that is because the Robocop problems seem to have cleared up, and they sent me pack 5 of Robocop, and I could only do about half of it because a lot of it was dependent on pack 4, which I never got, and pack 4 has been sent out. Hopefully in the next couple of days I'll have it at least by the end of the week, so maybe we'll be back on track with that just in time for Optimus Prime to finish up. I downloaded the last gargantuan set of instructions for the last stage today. That's going to be a marathon build, and I'm looking forward to it because I love that one. But today we're going to do the next 3 chapters, or the next 3 stages of ET. We're going to be motorizing the eyeballs, so stay tuned for that. As for normal, I will show you where I am at the end of each stage. First stage is we're going to take this motor or gearbox that we started to build last time, as you recall. We started to build this gearbox, but for some reason they left it without the top on it, which I always thought was strange. Well, this week, or this chapter, we get the top of that and a bunch of grease to add to it to make everything go smoothly. Now, since Wayne has posted his build this morning, I don't feel the need to post the entire thing here, so I'm just going to move along, and then I'll show you the result. Okay, the box has been covered up. It's been well greased. It's installed. We are going to take this now, and we are going to attach it to the battery box. Make sure we are off. There we go. Make sure we are off. Using this little weird pronging battery box. Okay. Now put this up in the camera. Check the sleepy eyes here. Open up the eyebrow, and then now my batteries might be a little weak, but that's not making near the noise that Wayne's did. Maybe I'm lucky that way, but maybe I should also check and make sure that that I'm not squeezing down on those gears too much. But yeah, he's making the turn. Okay, stage 7 was simply adding this block to the top of it. 4 screws and you're done. We're still working now. I took the gearbox out, loosened it up to see if it would go see if I was binding anything. I think the batteries are just getting weak on this. So we will consider that a good thing. And we'll go on to the last of these stages. And it looks like we are, yes, we are putting the this is the eyelid motor. Okay, so we will put the eyelid motor in. Ouch. I stabbed myself. Ouch. Just stabbed myself with the X-Acto blade. So let's get all these parts out. And just 2 pins, there's another motor, some more gears, and some screws. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, the eyelid motor is in. Now the only thing I'll note of interest is that the example shows the positive on the left and the negative on the right, whereas my motor is done with the positive on the right and the negative on the left. It doesn't matter. These motors, they simply will run. I think these batteries are really dead. These motors will run if you switch them the other way. They just run backwards. I will show this as an example here. See, it would just run the other way. I'd noticed that it's hard to get started, and I think that is back down to the weakness of these batteries. Let me put some fresh ones in. See, in this one's case, it was a matter of me having the motor cover, gear cover, down too tight. So I loosened it up, and all of a sudden, it's spinning like a champ. But this is how I had it before, and I had it all the way down to where it was making it much harder for those gears to turn. So if you're having the same problem, just loosen that front screw, the front screw, until it picks back up. And I like the way they put the little grease holes there so that you can add more grease to the gears. But there you go. That's ET for another month. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. It's the gateway to the weekend, and it's continuing the odds and ends weekend, or the odds and ends week. And today I'm putting serious work into the Interrogator Droid. This is from 3D Figlabs. Now, it's a tiny little interrogator droid. When you just want to be bothered, you don't want to be interrogated. It might come up and bother you about something. It's tiny. I like this size. It's a little undersized. You could print it any size you want, really, as long as you remember to scale all of your parts the same way. This is kind of like halfway between interrogator droid and thermal detonator as far as the actual size, but it'll look nice on the shelf. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Now, the first thing you'll notice if you look at these files and you look at the reference pictures that to get your reference, obviously, is that this is basically it's two R2 heads. This is basically an R2-D2 head. It's got a lot of the same features in it, and they must have just redressed it with some other greeblies on it to make the interrogator droid, at least half of it, and then the other half looks like it has the same scale and same size to it. It maybe was the rolling droid or something. It was just another piece that was put together. But it's kind of jarring once you realize, hey, that's R2's head with some changes on it. What I did, rather than try to paint these white lines on, because it's just gloss black white lines and a couple of red lights on it, and Bob's your uncle and you're done, is rather than paint them on, I just took the white vinyl, cut some thin lines. Now these are 1/16 of an inch thick lines, and yeah, they may be a little fat. They may be a little fat out of scale, but I think they stand up nicely. I think they'll do for what I need them to do. And the last thing is I'm going to try to light this, putting the simple red lights in. Also, I think I might try. I know it won't have the same effect because it won't be chasing like a Jupiter 2 light. The perimeter, the central bit of this, has a light that goes around. I've got clear pieces now. I was sent these clear pieces by the same guy who sent me the clear pieces for the Maria table, but they go in like that. And I'm just going to put some of those one or two of those noodle lights behind it because you've got this whole wall here. I suppose if you had real thin strip lighting, you could mount it to that and program it to do the chasing. At this point, that's a lot more than I'm really want to do. I think if I had, you know, printed this larger, then that would be something to do. But I'm thinking I can put just a couple of those noodle lights in and glue them down and be done with it. And let me see now. If I were to take some strip lighting, it certainly is tall enough. I have enough room to do that. You know, I might. That moves it up to a 9-volt system, though. I can do that with a 9-volt system and a 9-volt red LED there. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that instead of using the noodle lights. I think that will be fine. There's a couple opportunities for some other lighting here, and then we just run up through the pole down to the bottom of the of a simple base. We're going to do that instead. Okay, and that gives me a cool white too. The all of my filament LEDs are warm white, and I think I would really like a cool white there. So yeah, we're going to do that. I just noticed that it is the perfect size. I think if I add another inch in there, I can get the full circle. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. But I'm going to finish up. Now, I only have references as far as I can tell for a couple of the different views. I don't know if I can find a reference for the back side that you don't see to dictate where the white stripes go. There's no, they're in the instructions. They have no map for the white lights, and they're not built into the files. So like a little indent into the file where the white lines would go. That would be nice, Ricardo, if you're listening. It would be nice if you would put little dents where the white lines are supposed to go. But we've got color resin, which is another thing. Another reason I probably would not be printing this myself. The color bits, I would probably just put a color light in behind here because I don't have any red resin, nor am I likely to buy any red resin. Just for something like this, I would probably not even do the clear, but you can see I put a light here. I'll trim that out where those lights go, but we've got some red inserts, and then of course we've got all of the silver accoutrements that go on top. So that's what I'm working on today. Shouldn't take but today and tomorrow to finish that up, and that will be the work of the rest of the week. Okay, so I've been putting some of the lines down. I've got all of the clear red and just clear parts installed. I'm pondering now that I've got some of the stuff on here whether these lines are too fat. My fear is if I make them any thinner, it's going to be harder to lay them down and not have them waver. You know, trying to lay them down straight, they kind of demand to be a certain thickness. Now, all of these lines are not going to be constant. Right now, I just put in a perimeter line that I will cut bits out of as I, go up. Just like all of these lines aren't going to go all the way up to the center, I will cut them down. My concern is, though, I really like this. I would like it better if I like this bit here. I would like it better if perhaps it was a bit thinner, but do I really want to go through all that and redo it? That's my question. I don't know if I want to introduce a second thickness of line in here. That's something else I could think of. If I just did the straight lines thinner and did the curved lines the same thickness they are now, would that be too jarring? So I'm going to go mow the last section of yard and ponder that while I'm pushing the mower, and hopefully I'll have a clear idea when I get back. Okay, I went with a slightly thinner line, not quite half as thin, maybe 3/4 as thin, just to see, and I gotta say I like it a lot better. It may mean redoing all of these with the thinner line, but I do like that better. At least for the longer stretches. Maybe for some of the shorter ones we can leave the thicker line, but man, I hate to have to redo all of that, but I think that's the smarter solution in the long run. I think I'm happy with the amount of striping that I've done. I did go back in and replace it with the narrower stuff, but I don't want to overdo it, and there's some areas that you don't see, or at least I've not found any reference pictures for, so I just kind of made up what I thought would look nice there. So these things I'm happy with. I guess I'm ready for the next step, which would be to attach some more of the external parts on here. There's so much of that I want to do before I start manhandling the inside. Obviously, I don't want to put a bunch of delicate stuff around the outside and then have to step over it and be real careful about it. Rather just wait and put those on later. So I think what the next step I ought to do probably is to do the central core here, and maybe tape down the inner ring first. So let's do that, and then we can start add some life to this thing. Morning, everybody. It's Friday, the last work day of the week. I am confident this will be the last work day on the wee small interrogator droid. He just asks the little questions. He doesn't ask the big questions in life. I have got I'm starting to put some of the outer detailing on, and I'm seeing where I'm going to have to touch the paint back up before I close this thing up. Luckily, I still have all of the striping I need, but I'm going to have to remove some of this so that I can touch that paint back up and respray it. Now, I've figured out a basic way to light some of these windows from the inside. What I'd like to do is pretty much just take a strip of strip lighting here, wrap it around this Tamiya paint can lid, and kind of turn it upside down in here so that it sends light to all of the outer things at one time. So I've got the soldering iron warming up so that I can put a wire on this. I've got the lighting done for the bottom side. That is let me put a bulb or put a battery on this. That is the here's the, I know this is tough to do. This is the big red light, the Roxanne light that goes there, and then there is a strip that is lighting up the clear bits. And again, I said no. If time and money weren't an issue, I would probably break down and put another circuit in there to do the chase effect on it. I don't know if that's necessary for this point. I am kind of concerned because we're mixing strip lighting and a single LED, whether the battery is going to be enough. But I've got a port to run down to the stand, and if I need to stick a transformer on it, I will, but I'm hoping to be able to do everything with a battery pack. That's going to do something like that. And then this will sit something like that on the stand. Just a very basic, and then it's going to hit this part that's been glued into the top, and that's going to keep it at about that height. So what I need to do is just pull out the rest of the wiring. Once I've got this bit glued in and I'm done with all of the basic the big manhandling, I can touch that paint up. I could try doing it by hand, but I'm thinking I need to spray it to get a nice even coat. I'll tell you what I might do is I might go in by hand and just put the lion's share of the black paint in, and then maybe mist it if I'm seeing any brush strokes after that. I am still seeing some of the print patterning, the wood grain of the piece, if you will, but such as that is inevitable when you are dealing with a 3D printed piece. So yeah, I think we're in good shape. Once I've got the two halves together, I can put the silver details on everything. Okay, I've got the light core glued in now, or well, the epoxy is still curing, but basically it is a yeah, it just went off. I can feel the warmth because I can feel the warmth through the resin here. This is the lid of a Tamiya natural white or insignia white lid. I just turned it upside down and put some epoxy around the edge of it, or sat it down, epoxied the edge of it. It's got a strip of LEDs that is wrapped around it. When you attach a battery to it, it does this fun thing. And let me see if I can pull out enough wiring to show it. It does this, well, come on. It does that fun thing where it lights up all of the holes and everything. And since it's white, if the resin behind it is white, then it shines white. If the resin is, oh, come on. If the resin is red, it shines out red. Like that. But that takes care of all of my lighting at one time. I've got a light block there that I need to paint some more black paint in. I can do that from the inside, really. But we are, there it is. We are good to go. As soon as that cures, I can wire that into the bottom half. And then maybe we can get this thing together here before lunch. I want to, actually, you know, I'm wondering, there's a stage where I'm going to have to touch up the paint. The bottom's in pretty good shape. I think I only have to touch up the top. So I think what I'm going to do is do that little bit of touch up now, and then join the sections afterwards. Alrighty, I've got both sides wired, and I'm to that dangerous point where all I got to do is throw a bunch of glue around here and carefully put the two sides together. But everything is lit and happy off of that 9-volt. What'll happen is, like I said, I need to put some glue all the way through here, and then just turn it around and pop it down like that. And then I can touch up the black and add the last of the silver details, and that will also let me, I gotta clean off this lip here and put some more white. There are some white markings that need to go inside that lip. But yeah, we're almost there. We are very close. I don't know whether I need to glue the post down or not. It's the unfortunate nature. I wanted to have something that was... And now I'm thinking about this. Because... yes, we've got an on-off switch. Everything's lovely here. I don't know if this kind of fits in with the bobbly way it was moving in the movie, so maybe we will leave the bobbling in, but by the time you put all the final details on it, it's going to look something like that. Sorry, you couldn't see the final details because I didn't have them in camera. But all of these little bits that go on the top, maybe that bobble is more characteristic. It's not in any danger of snapping or anything. It's just, it's a bobble. All right, we're closing in on the end of this one. Touched up the black paint, painted in some silver details where they belong, the chrome details. I'm getting ready to add the final bits and bobs around the outside, and then we'll be ready to call it finished. So I think there's maybe a little bit of white striping I might want to replace. I've got some of that left over, so I will hold that in reserve. Okay, I've got most of the top parts on. Got one last thing to put on here, and what is modeling if not a little bit dangerous? It's the syringe. I've stuck an actual pin as the needle. How well you can see that, but there's actually a pin there to act. There you go, to act as the needle. So yeah, if you get too close to this model, you will get jabbed. That's all there is to it. See? Take the warning, Mr. Compressor. It is dangerous around here. Modeling is not for the timid. I'm having some fun, I'm sorry. Let's see, clean up a little bit of this. I want to show you, we are, by and large, done. I've touched up everything. I have, it's a little bit of cleanup to do. I've replaced a couple of the white stripes. Touched up the some of the black where it had gotten smudged. Got all these other big accoutrements in. I need to put some finishing touches on them because they got a little of the silver paint binged up when I was jockeying them into position. So yeah, there's a little bit of dust on this still. A little bit of sanding dust. You know how that happens. Touch some silver there. Silver is very, very unforgiving color of paint as far as getting dirty or showing any divots or showing any scratches underneath it. And let's see, we don't have a battery in this. Let's put a battery in so that I can show it off appropriately. I have to decide whether or not I want to glue that base so that it doesn't spin too much on the base. But yeah, one last step, and that is to glue this syringe on, and it goes right here. So we'll take care of that, and then we'll be back to light it up. Turn off the overhead light. Here is the finished interrogation droid. Now it looks a bit oblong, and this was something I was struggling with while I was looking at it. It's like, was this designed right? Is this what I think it is? It's tall. It's an egg shaped. It's not a sphere. But tell the truth, you're used to seeing it like that, and which you're looking at it at an angle. It does look more like a sphere. So let's get it all turned on here. You can see the big red light. We've got the perimeter light. We've got all of these guys shining out. This guy, these ones back here, all these little holes in the hull there. And I will place good money on how long it's going to take for me to stab myself with that. Now we're coming back to that same problem, is do I like the way it's kind of hanging like that? It does harken back to the nature of how it's presented in the film, of kind of obviously being floated in on wires. So yeah, you do get a bit of that. But when you let it go, it kind of finds its own level. But that is the probe droid, or I'm sorry, not the probe droid, the interrogation droid. Now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base. And what did you get me for Father's Day? And there you go. I think with that black background, it's a lot easier to appreciate it without the distraction of the busy background behind it. Now, I'll tell you that when you buy the files from 3D Figlab, you also get files to do a nice lit Imperial backdrop, sort of like a Death Star wall panel. I opted not to print those parts, only because I think that they would have taken me forever to print them, plus space being an issue. This is a whole lot easier. There's also a simpler base that has a lit Imperial symbol. Depending on whatever color bulb you put behind it, it could be any color. But it was like a disc with a Imperial symbol on it that you could light up. The only reason I didn't do that is because I can't print clear. Not that I can't print clear, I refuse to print clear because it means too much maintenance and cleaning out of the printer and refiguring everything just to run one batch of clear. So that, to me, until I start doing a lot more printing, it's not practical for me to have to change it out every time. I think when that day comes, I would have a separate printer that did nothing but print clear, because that way I could have one set of resin settings for it and one set of one vat for it and all that kind of stuff, rather than swapping back and forth. It's just not practical. So probe droid from 3D Figlabs, another hit from Ronaldo and company. Check them out. 3dfiglabs.com, I believe. And that's going to do it for this week's modeling, I believe. And that, my friends, is going to do it for this week. This is how the weeks are going to go between now and Wonderfest. Smaller projects, easier to do. Might not finish them all at one time. Might finish them in a day. Certainly, I'm cleaning up stuff, getting it ready to go. Stuff you're not going to see on camera. I'm certainly still going to be doing stuff to show, but as the summer goes on, more time is going to be spent outside, working on the yard, doing things like that. So maybe the videos get shorter. But hopefully you were able to get some enjoyment out of seeing Maria finally finish those switches going in, that last bit. And I can persuade you to tell me what happened to the plans they sent you. Whoa, 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 whoa. See, you're used to seeing it like that, and it does look a whole lot rounder that way than seeing it straight on where it looks more like an egg. You're used to seeing it like that, so we'll do that view. Whoa, 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 whoa. Enough of the sound effects. So until next week, the weeks are getting short. Time to go to Wonderfest. The weeks are getting short. Until next week, y'all be safe, be smart, be good, get outside. It's nice, and we'll see you here next time.